right, so we're going to interrupt our regular kind of conference lectures to start a new lecture series that I want to do on everyone's favorite topic, residency finances. All right, this wasn't particularly solicited by anyone, but I'm going to give it to you guys anyways. All right, so we're going to start off with a real life story. This is a conversation between me and Dr. Kim at the beginning of my finance elective. And, he asks you questions about your finances, what your goals are, and then he gives you some initial recommendations. For me, after looking at my student loans, he recommended I pursue PSLF. Now, me, a financially ignorant person, very eloquently was like, nah, like I'm gonna pay it off. Like I got a plan already. Like I got this figured out. Now, as a good mentor, Dr. Kim prodded me a little bit more to really look further into this. And so after doing the deep dive, I actually realized this was the right decision for me. And so after putting in my loans, my expected income in the future into this really nice PSLF calculator, I realized I could save somewhere around $150,000, which was surprising and it was a lot of money. All right. Was my initial plan 100% to make giant payments after getting attending money every month? Yes. Did I make that decision off of some kind of not fully well-known evidence and not really knowing kind of the details behind this? Also, yes. So why am I telling you this somewhat embarrassing story about my own personal finances? Mostly because the mistakes that I was about to make, not being fully informed on these decisions before I made them, ignoring good advice, essentially just putting my head in the sand. Yeah, that's me. Uh, I get the feeling that it's not just me that is doing this, that kind of a lot of us kind of have these same thoughts regarding our own personal finances. And I get it. Like this is confusing sometimes. It's really hard to really get your, arms around this entire subject. And you never really know kind of where to start. I'm here to say it doesn't have to be that complicated. We can make these into like really bite-sized manageable decisions so that we can kind of get on top of these now. With the idea that if you kind of learn a little bit up front right now and kind of make these decisions right now, you can really kind of set it and forget it. You really find that you won't have to go back and make that many changes to these plans. Because in reality, we don't want to be spending so much time thinking about, our money, personal finances. We'd rather be doing things that actually nourish us, like traveling, spending time with family, exploring, or if you're Charles, flying a plane. All right, so where do we start? That's the question that I had kind of going into this. Now, pretty much everyone here, I've given this lecture during your intern orientation on residency finances. It had some valuable information, but it really wasn't actionable, to be honest. So here's a more up-to-date version. After doing a deep dive through a lot of resources and with the help of some performance-enhancing drugs, I created a worksheet, all right, that consolidates all of the kind of key financial decisions that we need to be thinking about and making and distills them all into kind of one bite-sized topics. All right, and so this is what it ends up looking like. It's an initial kind of intro worksheet. It includes some overarching principles of personal finances that you kind of need to know before diving into this. It goes over particular topics like savings, retirement, especially from the viewpoint of a resident and soon to be attending, with deep dives to kind of show the thought process behind these decisions and fill in the blank areas so that you can come up with your own plan. With the idea that if you kind of work your way through this, you fill out everything here, then you actually have set and forgot like most of the decisions that you're going to have to make over the next few years. All right. Particular topics that this thing covers: retirement and savings and what this actually looks like, insurance, and especially the insurance that's important to us as physicians, buying a house, what it looks like to save for that and what that process actually looks like, student loans and your options, PSLF versus paying it off, and kind of the risks and benefits of each, investing and how to make this as simple and seamless as possible so you don't have to spend any time on it. And then estate planning and asset protection for when we actually have a lot of money and we want to protect it from catastrophic lawsuits. Now, the idea of the worksheet is that if you just did this worksheet and you did not listen to me talk at conference, you'd be completely fine. In fact, that's kind of all you would need to do. But I would like to supplement these with like quick, short 10-minute lectures during conference when we have time over particular high-yield concepts like student loans, retirement and savings, investing, kind of how we can make this as simple as possible, and things like building an emergency fund and disability insurance during residency. All right, kind of topics that are important to us before we become attendings. And throughout this, we're going to highlight some of the kind of major themes that go into personal finance. And when there is one, we're going to put this major key symbol to really tie it in. All right. The first one is time in the market beats out timing the market. All right. Major key. Now, does anyone actually know what time in the market actually means? Can anyone explain why that is like the king here?
Investor.
Yes, why?
Then you have time in the market, not just like looking to see when stocks are going up and down.
I love that. Exactly. Yes, these are two different ways of approaching your investments. All right, time in the market really focuses on how much time your money is in the market, how much time you're allowing compounding to happen. Whereas timing the market is the misconception that you individually can kind of predict when the stock market is going to go up, when the stock market is going to go down, and you can try to profit off of that. In reality, you can't do that. And I'm going to show you kind of why time in the market beats out timing the market. First, to do that, we have to explain compounding interest, all right, and what this actually looks like. So let's take a look at two investors here investing the same amount of money, but at different times in their life. Investor one starts at age 25, investor two at 35. They're putting in the same amount of money each year, except investor one actually stops investing after 10 years, whereas investor two keeps going until the age of 65. What you see is that because investor one had more time in the market, the interest they made on their original investment continued to grow and grow, outpacing investor two, who started 10 years later but put in a lot more money over time. As you can see, that is insane. But that's kind of the gist of this lesson, all right? Get in the market as early as you can and let your money grow. Or in 2 words, invest early. All right? To explain why timing the market is bad, consider this graph. As you can see, you make more money by having your money invested for all of the potential days the market could do well and return you money. If you try to time the market, say by like selling right before you think the market will crash, statistically, on average, you're going to miss out on more money than had you just invested your money and left it alone. All right? So not only are you losing money, but you're also losing your precious time by trying to predict when you think the market is going to crash. All right? Now, the question becomes like, what happens like during a recession when I'm like losing all of my money? Why would I still want to stay in the market? All right. The reason why we want to continue is because you want to think of the market as like in the short term, random, but in the long term, it has consistently gone up, consistently returned you gains. So in the short term, yes, over months to years, the market can go horrible. And we hear about it all the time. You can lose a lot of your money. But if you look over the long term, over decades, the market has consistently grown, meaning it is growing your money. This is how compounding works, and this is how you save for your own retirement. All right, so to make this simple, follow 3 rules. All right, invest, chill, profit. All right, invest early and consistently. It doesn't matter what the market's doing. The market could be bad, the market could be good. You're just going to consistently invest. Chill out. The whole point of this is set it and forget it. All right, because you know that over years, over decades, your money is going to consistently grow. It's going to compound, and this is how you're going to actually be able to retire. And then profit. Enjoy your retirement. All right, because this is the whole point of this. You want to retire when you want to, be financially independent when you want to, and enjoy the rest of your career. All right, now in reality, your investments actually have to grow, meaning that the companies or whoever you're lending money to has to be profiting to give you your money back. Now, how do we know what to invest in again? That is a question that I'm going to answer in a separate lecture. But there's one thing that we need to know before doing this. Mostly that past performance does not guarantee future results. What this means is that just because one investment is doing well right now does not guarantee it will do well later. All right, so again, over the short term, the market, and especially like one stock, one single stock, completely random. You are not going to be able to say, oh yeah, that one's going to do great or that one's going to suck. All right, so try not to get distracted by the latest like Bitcoin or meme stock. That's not the point of this. All right, again, we'll focus on what to invest in later to mitigate this risk. But for now, we're focusing on investing in the market, not timing the market, and just letting things play out. All right, so in conclusion, don't put your head in the sand on these decisions. All right, ignoring these decisions can be really costly if you let it. But we can do this. All right, we can break these decisions down into like really reasonable, short, kind of understandable things and make it more manageable. And the goal here again is to make this as simple as possible because we want to actually focus our time on things that nourish us, not kind of these things.